Welcome to Breaking the Chain. I'm Jacob.
And I'm Cody.
And this week we got a lot of meta results. Like we got ProQuest, we got Falling Sydney, we've got Green Tree. There's a lot meta wise to talk about, especially going up into Worlds.
Yeah, 1 week before Worlds. So we have a lot to discuss when it comes to what that's going to look like for both CC and LL.
Yeah. I don't know if anything's going to come as a surprise. I think the bigger conversation's LL, but still it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. So what did you do in Flesh and Blood this week?
So I went to an armory. I won the armory with Valda.
Nice.
Felt good. Finally did it. I've gone 2-1 the last month in a row. But to finally pull it out, it's pretty cool.
Sick.
And there was a lot of it was very interesting games. It was very good. It was a lot of fun. And then I did stream last night, so that was fun.
That's awesome, yeah. But played some Valda on stream. I stopped in for a second, just while I was in D&D, just to see what's up. I think it was right when you started, maybe. But yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't able to hang out and see you play. But
yeah, and I know a lot of people. There's been a couple people that have been asking, "Oh, do you have any gameplay videos of Valda?" So there's at least something now.
I see. Yeah,
it's something I've been wanting to do too.
That's kind of a cool concept too. If you could post a deck tech and then later on link the streams in the description of the deck tech as additional gameplay.
Oh yeah.
And then that would be supplemental to it. I do think it'd be kind of fun to do a deck tech for Dio. And I also, I think Silver Age is going to be maybe my focus post Worlds. Doing a lot of testing for Silver Age and a lot of just playing it for fun, honestly. And so maybe I'll do some sort of Silver Age deck tech in the future. That'd be kind of. I think it's just fun to master a deck and do a deck tech for it. But anyway, anything else in Flesh and Blood you did this week?
I think that's it, really.
I did not have a ton outside of a lot of testing for the calling. I'm not playing in Worlds itself, but I'm going and playing in the calling in Philly, and I'll be doing a lot of side events, which might be CC or LL. But basically, still figuring out exactly what I want to do for my LL deck. I've been flip-flopping a bit.
Really close.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of going for fun at this point. I'm not expecting to do too well at the calling in LL. I think it's hard to expect to do well in LL, if I'm going to be honest. You either play Viserai and then you have to flip a lot of coins in the mirror, or hope that the Marlyns don't just kind of kill you and disrupt you every turn, or you playing maybe a more fragile combo deck and maybe you just don't get there. Because basically, I learned about a very greedy Dash.io LL list that's running Cash-ins and Art of Wars and a Tome of Findals, and it OTKs. You just need one High Octane and 1 to 2 Cerebellums, and then you'll end up finding the rest of the stuff you need. And I got it to be, when I was playing against the bot, averaging 75 damage on the OTK turn. Yeah. But turns out that when you're playing against real opponents, that doesn't really happen. Because you either play against Marlynn and they take your High Octane or your one blue, which you do need some resources to do the combo, or your Cerebellum, and you also can't run the Cash-ins because they'll steal your gold. So it's just it. So that matchup is a bit rougher. And then you play against Starvo, and you are almost an auto lose in that matchup, unless they just don't find any disruption the first couple turns. Or if you correctly name with null time zone the disruption that they have, which is unlikely because they have 3 pieces: Hypothermia, Channel Lake Frigid, and Warmongers that will literally lose you the game, and you have to hope that you get the right one. Or you play against Dromai, and then they play Warmongers, and you just lose. So yeah, the deck did not unfortunately pan out for me. The one thing was it basically wins the Viserai matchup every time, which is sick. But then you just lose to everything else. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm probably just gonna end up playing Viserai. But that's a long story of my weekend flesh blood, doing a lot of LL testing, trying to figure out what I want to play, what feels good.
So what makes Marlynn good in LL? Like this week out of nowhere, everyone's like, Marlyn's just so good in LL. I'm like, what? She's not even good in CC. What do you mean?
Well, I
she's good
think
in
the
LL?
discussions actually started with the green tree thing, which we'll get to later. But to summarize it, you are a deck that can do evasive damage with overpower in a format that people aren't really running a lot of defensive stuff. You
Okay.
disrupt almost every turn, which is really good to the aggro decks. You wanted to be able to disrupt them, and you do a lot of damage. So I saw it. I think it was the Runaways that put it best, which was that you are basically like new, where you're a disruptive deck, but you actually deal damage while while doing the disruption.
Okay.
So that's basically what it is. That you also have so much draw. You run Art of Wars, you run Cash-ins, you run Three of a Kind, you run
Art of War
Tipples
is legal.
potentially. Yeah, it's just you go through the entire deck, and it's very unlikely that you whiff on an arrow, basically. And you get
Okay.
to, because of how much draw you have, you are often throwing an arrow that matters, right? It's not like CC where you have to run all the harpoons and maybe throw yellowfin harpoons sometimes. Like, you just don't have to do that in LL, because you're going to draw so many cards. You're going to find a Codex to pull back a good arrow, or you're going to have King Shark or something Kraken, or Redfin harpoon, or even Bluefin harpoon is actually pretty good into a lot of decks. So yeah. Oh, also into Starvo, you will often be able to rip one of the cards of their hand, preventing them from fusing. And if Starvo doesn't fuse, you kind of just don't do anything. It turns out. Also, you basically, like, it's a format where you can basically say no blocks in for a long time, especially if you're disrupting them, and so then they're not doing as much damage to you. So then you just kind of keep the full hand. And anyway, long story short, she's good because she does damage and she's disruptive, and she's pretty consistently disruptive.
Okay. I guess that makes sense. It was just something where I'm like, CC
Yeah,
is not that good. Like, how does she do better in LL?
it's
Like,
quite literally Cash in Art of War.
okay, that makes sense.
Like, what literally that's what it is Cash in Art of War, because you get so much more consistency because of that. But
Draw 12
yeah,
more cards in your deck.
yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, you just constantly you literally every turn you activate harpoon and throw an arrow for at least 10, sometimes 13, sometimes 20. So yeah, so that was my week. Basically just trying to figure out the LL deck that I want to play. So yeah, you want to jump into the ProQuest Week 5 meta results?
Yeah, we can definitely do that. It definitely looks like a smaller ProQuest this week, or like smaller grouping of ProQuests.
Yeah, because I want to say that it's only certain regions that have them these last 2 weeks.
That would make sense.
So yeah, we didn't have quite as many. We do still see pretty similar results to last week. So we have Syndra in the top spot, 19% of the pie chart. Verdance with 14%. And then we have a lot of like 8s and 7s. It's Kasai, Florian, KO, OG Acilio, Gravy Bones, and Arachne Marionette. That's like a large chunk of the pie is just these decks that are they're all getting like an even share of wins. And
I was
then
kind of surprised to see like the win rate of Verdance go down.
yeah,
Like, and it's quite a bit because she went from like 20 something win rate to 14. That's like 6, 7, 8% win rate. Even Syndra's down just a tiny bit. And then to see like Florian, like I kind of expect Kasai to be good, but Florian winning so much is also a little surprising to me.
right. I think it's maybe a combination of more Syndras. I think a lot of people are starting to pick up Syndra as their deck of choice, and just a reactionary response to Verdance being the top deck.
Yeah.
Florian obviously is not a reactionary response to that. But I think there's just a lot of people are more prepared for Verdance now. Is my guess. I've heard that even Kasai, who has a pretty bad Verdance matchup, is getting better into that matchup, and so just a lot of decks not auto losing to the deck, and I think it's just fluctuating too. Like it could have just been less people brought it or less people took it down. But yeah, pretty. So, and this is like potentially a topic for later, but I feel like it's a pretty healthy meta when you have all these viable decks. But that's just me.
Yeah,
We maybe
I think the ProQuest makes this meta like. I think it's been a like healthy, fun meta. I think it could definitely be healthier, but I do think it's healthy and fun. I think that if you looked at calling Sydney, it didn't look nearly as healthy. But
Yeah. Oh, I heard. I think it was a different podcast. I don't remember which one it was, but they pointed out something interesting. Oh, I think it was Flesh and Pod. Syndra, if Syndra didn't have the 0.5x LL point multiplier, she'd be LL'd by now.
That's not true. I don't. Is it true? Wait.
I guess I should look. I should have verified that before I just spouted out what I heard. That might have been a good idea.
But I mean, it might be true, but I'm like that doesn't sound believable.
Let's see. Syndra is at 573 points, and it's been less than a year since Hunted came out. Yeah.
But didn't the 0.5 multiplier go into effect after Hunted?
I think it was retroactive.
Was it retroactive?
It might not have been. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
Where do we see LL now?
It's
under
events. Yeah, it's under events.
Because how much has she earned this season?
But like regardless, what I'm trying to say is that
oh, she's like hyper dominant and
she's won a lot, and she has yet to receive a ban, and yet if under the original system she would have LL'd by now, which is kind of crazy to think because Hunted came out. Let's see, TCG Hunted release date. January 31st of this year, so 10 months ago. And she would have LL'd.
Verdance definitely would have LL'd because Verdance has 400 points this season.
Yeah, but it has been at least a year since the set, and so the thing is that, and I think they brought it up on the Flesh Pod as well, was that most of her points are from when she was at 1x multiplier and not 0.5x multiplier. So you don't actually double a lot of those points.
Wait, Verdance has Verdance has been here a year?
Yeah, so let's look up Rosetta. It was September 20th of 2024. It was Rosetta's release date.
Oh, okay. Okay, never mind then. Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, so a lot of her points are from once she would have hit 1x. So she's about where she would have been normally.
I don't know if it was retroactive for Syndra. I don't feel like it would have.
I don't think it actually was. Now I think about it.
Yeah, because I'm like, I feel like they would have done that for more heroes.
But for what's worth, she didn't win a ton when she first came out. She won the first calling after release. It was like Yuki took an event down with her.
I think she won a few callings and then did well on ProQuest season.
Maybe it was a few.
But I mean, she would have gained like 400 points instead of 200. Like, and this is rough estimates.
Yeah.
But it's like 400 instead of 200, so she'd be at 773 this season.
Yeah. But yeah, regardless, that was an interesting note that she, under the original system, she would have LL'd by now.
Yeah. But I mean, she's just gaining a lot of LL points, and it's like this is kind of what I think a lot of people are wondering if like, is this just letting them put in like are they actually going to do something, or is this just going to be like they don't look as bad, so we don't have to do anything kind of scenario?
Well, it's kind of funky too, and we're like, what do you even touch in Syndra? Like, what do you ban?
It's all the same card.
Exactly. Like, what do you hit? That's like, it's obviously like you could just hit a consistency piece, and that would like tone her down a little bit. But I think the best hit for her would be a better meta for decks that prey on her.
I think the best hit for her is hitting Burn Bear and Verdance.
Yeah.
Because that would allow disruptive decks to actually play the game, and then Syndra stonks go down.
Yeah, because I've heard like there's victors that are coming out of the woodworks to try to counter the Syndras, but then you just run into Verdants and
Yeah, Gravy.
Gravy.
Gravy's so popular.
I think that's because that's the biggest thing, right? Is that you have Verdants and Gravy holding back the decks that would normally prey on Syndra.
Yeah, because like Victor destroys Syndra. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I block out, I draw a card, I throw Spinal, you have to block. Okay,
Yep.
well, I block out, maybe draw another card, or oh, look at that, I get to create 4 like might tokens to put on my next disruptive attack. Like, Victor is really good in the Syndra, but he's held back because Guardian can't play into Wizard, and they also suck into Gravy Bones. If you want a Guardian that does do well into Gravy Bones, like I got Valda, but
apparently Jarl too. But
apparently.
Apparently.
Oh no, I haven't played it as much as I probably should. But
yeah,
it's
I've heard some good things about Jarl. I don't know if he's actually good enough to be a real pick right now, but I've heard some good things.
I completely agree. I think if you know how to play into Fatigue, you can beat that deck very easy because he plays a lot of not Fatigue cards for a Fatigue deck. A lot of cards that say
block
do
2.
nothing. And block 2. Like,
yeah.
Another day, but
yeah, I agree. But yeah, we'll get into the CC meta a little bit more after we go over the events. But we also have some LL ProQuest data. There were 6 LL ProQuests. 2 of them won by Bravo. 2 of them won by Viserai. A Dash.io and a Zen win. Pretty much all expected.
I mean, it looks like the meta opened up just a tiny bit. So
yeah, and I was gonna get into that. I think I'll maybe talk about it a little bit more after the green tree stuff. Because I think it is the meta is quite interesting for LL right now. But yeah, then we had a lot of events. Unless you had more to talk about before we go into the call in Sydney.
One like random thing that's like unrelated to the callings and everything, but we were talking about Syndra and what kind of bans. Not that I want to ban this in Syndra. I know I've heard some talks about, but not that I want to ban this. But what I've been thinking about a lot recently is Flick Knives is just the crown of seeds for aggro decks now.
I get it's really just Syndra though, right?
Well, maybe it's the crown of seeds for Syndra.
Yeah.
What I'm advocating for is give us Crown of Seeds back. Like Flick Knives is evil. They can draw off of like other big funky turns. Like I just want Crown of Seeds back. Like
honestly, Crown of Seeds would that make Jarl busted?
I didn't play enough Fatigue Oldhim to know, but I imagine it's probably really strong. I think the worst part is that Verdance gets it, and then can life gain and
yeah. If Crown of Seeds was Earth Guardian, I think that they could unban it. But since it's just Earth, nah, that shit's staying banned forever.
Or like
that's not coming back.
Get it.
But that reminds me. There's another topic we can talk about at the end. I'll add it to the notes in case we get to it, but it might be a next week thing.
I'm advocating for an unban, and then I can finally I'll just go back to Yarrow, and I can finally interact with Flick Knives, like just not take the damage.
Yeah.
But my point is, like, I just want to put it out there that Flick Knives is just Syndra's Crown of Seeds.
It's like the pairing almost. It's the opposite, right?
It's the opposite, but it's like it's uninteractable damage prevention versus damage itself.
It's pretty interactable. You have Shelter that can stop it.
Yeah, 3 cards in my deck can stop their every single turn trigger.
Yeah, isn't it great too?
I just gotta hope I draw them in the first 10 cards of my deck when it's relevant.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so we had Calling Sydney this past weekend. 214 players. Good amount for a calling. Pretty much as you'd expect. 33 Verdants, 31 Syndra, 29 Gravy, 10 Acilio, 8 Dash.io, 8 KO, 8 Prism, 7 Kasai, 7 Puffin, 6 Dory, 6 Fang, 6 Kano, yada yada yada. But pretty much expected top of the meta there. With a day 2 conversion of 9 Syndras for 29%, 7 Verdants for 21%, 6 Gravy for 21%, 3 Prisms for 38%. Although, actually, I think that was wrong, right? Or no, it wasn't. Never mind. It was something else. 3 Prisms for 38%, 3 Victors for 60%, and then I think that was the most notable thing, really. One Rhinar made it.
Marionette at 67%. With
2 Marionettes for 67.
So yeah, it's like that's like the biggest conversion rate, but it's like 2, and a lot of the other heroes just go down to like 1 showed up day 2.
Yeah. So pretty much go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I'm a little surprised by one Gravy showing up with such high force, especially with Syndra around. Like, I would have expected the conversion rate to be a little less personally. And then also, like, a lot of people are talking about Prism, like, and we'll talk a little more about the top 8, but like, people are definitely talking about Prism in this meta.
So that's the thing, right? Is that I want to bring up 2 things. One, that Syndra is outperforming Verdance in conversion rate. Gravy is still doing well. I actually watched Justin Ku's game against the Syndra, where he came back from a huge life deficit to win that game. It was really sick. Recommend watching it. But also, I think the biggest notable thing is Prism and Victor putting up good conversion rates here. Prism notably good into Gravy, good into Verdance, and pretty like 50-50, if not slightly favored into Syndra. And when you look at it that way, you're like, oh, this deck's good into the top 3 decks. So we might have a bit of a meta shakeup at Worlds by Prism's showing up in force.
See, the problem that I find with Prism is that it feels like she's really good in the top 3, but then if you pair into anyone outside of the top 3, you're not feeling pretty. Like,
that is the problem.
I say that, but
well, not anybody.
that's not true. Yeah, like, yeah, Kano, you're pretty happy about, but it's like I feel like Victor is the next rising star, and you pair into Victor, it's almost an auto loss for new Prism.
I don't know if that's actually the case anymore. I would say before, is it Angelic Attendant? Is that what the card's called? The new card that she got. I think before that card came out, yes. But I think now with that new card, you actually have a decent, if not favorable, Guardian matchup. That one card alone does a lot for the Guardian matchup. Because you just get to flip that the Angel of Erudition almost whenever you want now, and do like an ALS mini loop effectively once with that card. So I think that she actually might be fine into the Guardians now. But I will agree. You have some pretty rough. You have some pretty rough like tier 2, tier 3 matchups. Like KO is pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean KO is an actual auto loss if you.
Yeah, KO is really bad. Kasai I think is probably maybe it's fine now with Angelic, but it used to be pretty bad because they would just block you out a little too well. Puffin has a lot of poppers. Actually, that's really it. There's not a ton that you're.
It actually doesn't look too bad.
Yeah.
Acilio, is she afraid of Acilio? Like, she can prevent some of the arcane, but it's just like Acilio does so much. Like 4/4/4.
I think the 10, main problem is that Acilio, if Acilio does the combo early enough, then it's bad. But I think oftentimes Acilio is kind of trying to wait around and chip in, and Prism excels there. And Acilio can't run poppers outside of Lightning Press. So yeah, it can be pretty rough. I think it's pretty rough for Acilio if I were to take a guess. But yeah, so day 2 conversion there, and then the top 8. The top 8 was a bit interesting, I will say, for Colin Sydney. We had
interesting or not interesting.
2 Verdants, 1 Prism, and 5 Syndras. A bit of a Syndra feast up at the top 8 of Colin Sydney. With Syndra winning the calling as well. It was Gordon. Oh, I can't read the name too well, actually. Gordon Coco won it on Syndra. So Syndra has been showing up and doing the most, it seems. I think that she might just be the undisputed tier S deck. Verdance is obviously up there as well, but I think Syndra has been showing that she's probably just the strongest deck right now, the deck to beat.
I could still believe that Verdance is the strongest deck to beat, just because,
Yeah.
like, I think Verdance is generally more versatile and has better matchups among the rest of the field. I think it's
Yeah.
just like Syndra is. I think her power level is a little bit higher in Syndra because you just, again, every single turn, you just deal 1 damage to the opponent. And, like, the opponent just starts at, like, 5 less life for starting the game against Syndra, which is inherently very strong.
I think the main problem is that
Well,
you just don't have a lot of terrible matchups as Syndra. Like yours,
yeah.
your bad matchups are like 45 percenters, right?
Yeah, and like the decks that counter you are also just not in the meta. Like,
Right, like Victor's your biggest counter, and they just can't exist in a Verdance and Gravy world. Like,
yeah,
good luck.
man, I really hope we get some sort of like Guardian set soon that can help us get better.
Yeah, if only there was a set for just Guardians to help them
Yeah,
out.
exactly.
That'd be kind of funky, wouldn't it?
That'd be really funky, but like Guardian needs it.
Yeah. um, I just want to know. I just looked over at the meta breakdown for day one and saw there was a lone tough nut that tried their best.
I
uh,
Tough Nut.
so funny. Anywho, there was also a battle hardened and a living legend battle hardened that happened. I don't know how many players there were, but the top 8 was 2 Starvos, a Dromai, a Zen, an Aurora, and 3 Viserais. And Michael Fung on Viserai took it down. Kind of expected.
That's already looking like a much healthier meta. Like, it's not just
Yeah.
Pain and Viserai and
Well,
Starvo.
we'll get to that after Green Tree. I want to talk about the LL meta game a bit. I don't necessarily. I agree and disagree with that, but I'll get to it in a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, so then we had the Green Tree 10K and 2K. There was a surprising lack of people for this. I think it was like 52 players for the Green Tree 10K. In fact, I can probably add it up pretty quickly. There's 15, 21, 20, 31, 36, 42, 47. Yeah, 52 or 51, 51 or 52 players for this thing for a 10K. I don't know what the entry fee was, but I remember doing the math, and I was like, dang, that's $200 a player. So the entry fee could not have made up for that. But it was a charity event, so hopefully they got some money for charity. The meta we have here, the most brought deck was KO at 8 copies. Then Verdance at 7, Astilio at 6, Syndra at 5, Dash.io at 5, Kasai at 3, and then there's a lot of 2s and 1s. Gravy being one of the 2s, which is kind of surprising.
Very interesting event. Like, this just doesn't represent the meta at all.
It was like basically a battle hardened, and it's hard to get too much good data from a battle hardened because of the numbers and everything. And then top 8 was 1 Mario, 1 KO, 1 Syndra, 2 Dash.ios, and 3 Verdants. And Syndra ended up taking it down, Gary Gold. And then there was an LL2K that happened as well. I don't think we have a total breakdown of the meta for that one, but we do have the top 8, which was
I can try seeing if there's
2 Zen, 2 Marlynn, and 4 Viserai. And Marlynn ended up taking it down. It was Mark Morrison on Marlynn, typical Acilio player taking it down. And Jared Contaldi was the Viserai that got second, and that's actually one of my teammates. So shout out to him for getting that far with it. Marlynn, and this is where I want to talk about the meta, unless you have something you want to say before I dive into the LL meta.
I know nothing LL meta, so I'm ready to listen.
Okay. So it's interesting. So we had a ban recently, right? And the expectation was a huge meta shakeup, right? For Viserai and the Runeblaze to lose dominance. But we're kind of seeing here that Viserai is still doing pretty well, actually. Turns out that banning Rosetta Thorn is a bit of a hit, and banning removing 2 dirges out of the deck does reduce a little bit of power, but not that much actually. Turns out Fizzerai was good enough to not really need that to win events. Um, the only thing that the ban list seems to have done is Chain is just not playable anymore, which basically removed 1 Rune Blade. I think that Briar wasn't really a real deck before, but now is super not a real deck. And Aurora is like kind of an option, because it didn't get hit by the bans, and you can run Warmongers just fine in Aurora, which is kind of funny. But long story short, I think the only thing the bans really did was remove Chain entirely and slightly weaken Viserai. And then what this ended up doing to the LL meta was that since Chain left, Marlyn actually rose up, because Chain was a bad matchup for Marlyn. Mainly because a lot of the power from Chain's turns came from the banish zone, not from his hand, which is not disruptible, right? So you can obviously like you can hit the rune chain generation, but that just severely limits the number of arrows that actually matter into Chain. So Chain was a bad matchup for Marlyn and was pretty popular at the time, which is why Marlyn wasn't good enough. But now with Chain out of the picture, Marlyn actually has a pretty favorable matchup into all of the heroes. You're good into Viserai, you're good into Zen, and you're good into Starvo. And those are the top 4 decks in LL, if you ask me. It's Starvo, Viserai, Marlyn, and Zen. And like you have a lot of tier 2s. You have like Dromai, Aurora, stuff like that. And you're also fine in those decks too. I mean, maybe not Aurora as much, but Marlyn just turns out to be actually a pretty solid choice into the new LL meta. So ultimately, all that the ban list did was add Marlyn as a contender in the LL meta and remove Chain. Long story short, that's what it did, which is like kind of interesting, right? Like having Marlyn as one of the top decks is interesting, a little bit more interesting than having just a Runeblade meta. So I guess that's not not the worst outcome, but it is kind of funny that the ban list just basically neutered one deck and then allowed another deck to start shining because of it.
Yeah, no, and it's like, I don't know. I used to play in the ProQuest season 1. There was OTK Viserai, there was Starvo, there was OG Prism, there was OG Chain. Like, so when they hit the Dirge, I still remember Skeletta Viserai without Dirge in the beginning, who would still, like, worst case scenario, combo you turn 2. I had one combo, like, before Dirge, I had one combo me on turn 2 for like 56 damage. So I'm like, does that really hurt Viserai? Like,
so I will say that's pretty rare. I shouldn't say rare.
It's still I imagine it's still like not super common, but like this is before we've had like a few other Runeblade sets since that happened, and they only have taken 1 card from the deck when we've had so much extra added that I was like a little skeptical when they're like, Dirge is gone, it's just too powerful. I'm like, well, this try is still very, very strong.
Yep, still pretty strong deck. And turns out the Rosetta Thorn did not hurt Viserai as much, because Duskblade is a card, which is basically it's like -1 damage the first time you use it, and then the second time you use it, it's like, oh, here's 4 damage. Like it's a little slightly better, more blockable, but you weren't able to block all the damage I was sending anyway, so that's not quite relevant. So it's interesting. I think the Viserai is still the best deck, but Marlyn maybe is just the best deck. Is now the only tier S deck, and that's the big shakeup, right? That's the big thing that's been sweeping all these tournaments, or not sweeping the tournaments necessarily, but sweeping the meta for Worlds. Is this Marlyn deck is coming up, and it's good. It's actually good. It's not like a joke. But outside of that, everything's kind of as expected.
I mean, if you want a good deck into Marlyn, do I have the deck for you?
Do you?
Valda's pretty. I mean, so I played a Marlyn last night on stream. It didn't go very well for them. but I beat them 39-0. So like,
It's a very CC Marlin is very different. Oh, I lost you there for a
yeah,
second. CC Marlin is a
oh yeah,
very different beast. Is the problem?
yeah.
All I have to say is good luck.
But I mean, they're
um,
drawing like 1,000 cards. Valda just sits there, creates 1,000 seismic surge, and then
yeah. Oh, I do want to mention one thing about the
hmm,
LL format, which is that because of Marlin, this was already the case of like the coin flip mattered a lot, but Marlin coin flip matters so much, so
like into
much.
other Marlins, like the mirror.
No, just like to everybody. You want to go
Oh,
first as Marlin every time, and going first is a like possible 10-point swing of value for each side because Marlin
oh,
gets to throw 10 to 13 overpower pretty consistently on turn 0, and they make 1 to 2 gold. And then the other side usually gets a benefit from going first of potentially 5 to 8 points of value. So not only is Marlin getting 5 to 8 points of value, but then you're denying 5 to 8 points of value on the other side. It's disgusting how much the coin flip actually matters because of Marlin. Like before, it was obviously good. Like the Vizrai mirror was a big deal, but now it's just like, okay, now you need to win the coin flip in Marlin. It's like a, I think the thought process is potentially a 15-point win rate swing in some matchups if you're going first or second as Marlin. Like it's
can
insane.
you?
What's
So
that?
like this was Marlin as intended. Like, wasn't this the last set that was designed with Art of War and Cashin in mind?
Was it? The book banning happened probably when
It was
when
after Mistveil.
right. It was probably when the set was being designed, honestly. Um,
And they designed it about a year in advance.
right.
So
But it was funny because like the it was a pretty like immediate impact, right? Because I want to say the next set was
oh yeah,
Rosetta, and Acilio would have been really dominant with all of those drawing cards.
yeah.
Um, so I think
Well,
it
this
was
is what I'm saying. Like, is this like this is what Marlin was intended to do? Like at the beginning of her design. Now imagine this in CC.
yeah, yeah. And CC would be disgusting. Um,
Yeah,
it's mostly that they have both Cashin and Art of War. If they had just one or the other, it wouldn't be as big of a deal. But because they have both, it's just it's so good.
this might also be another reason that they were looking at banning it because they're like, okay, like let's try Marlin with this, and they're
Right.
like, not only is Zen broken with these cards, but the next like another hero we want to design is broken. They might have been looking at Acilio too, where like this hero could just OTK you on turn 3 if things go correctly, and then
Yep.
Sindra with these cards kills you on turn 3. They're like,
Yep.
maybe we need to take this out of the game. Like the
Maybe
power levels
maybe
getting a
card draw's a
little
problem. Maybe.
perhaps.
Yeah, but it is funny how a lot of the top decks in the format, it's either disruption, like heavy disruption, um, utilizing card draw to a significant advantage, or both. And Marlin does both. So that's like it's kind of like the funny thought is like, okay, are there decks that can comfortably use Artivore and Cashin that can compete? And I don't think there is. Like I think it's like can you use Artivore and Cashin? Yes. Well, you're a good deck. That seems to be like the L format at this point. Um, but anyway, that's the summary so far. I think there's basically 4 real decks. There's a lot of semi-real tier 2 decks that do exist, but there's not like the real contenders for actually winning a big tournament. Um, but yeah, that's my understanding of the LO format.
Yeah, no, and it's like I was watching the like Runaways podcast and they're like making their tier list this last week. And it was like interesting to me because like it definitely was like the perspective of like why would you play any like they're like, oh, you have tier like or like the B tier or whatever. And like a lot of them I'm like, sure, they can beat some of the heroes in like A and S tier, but you're not winning any events. Like you could
Yeah,
take Jarl, you could beat Gravy sometimes,
yeah,
and like, but you pair into Verdance, you lose.
yeah.
You pair in like
Yeah.
There's also just people that know how to play into this type of deck. I'm like, you're not like, yeah, you're gonna win a few games, but you're not gonna win an event on it. Like, there's gonna be people that do some like that know how to play around it. One, and there's gonna be people that like also just get lucky. Like, it's hard to fatigue someone when the Syndra's like, oh, this is the best hand I've drawn all day. Like, Wrath of Retribution, dagger, dagger, dagger,
Yep.
draw a card because you drew a bad hand or something, something, something. Draw a card. Oh, into this, into this, into this. Like,
Yeah.
I saw a lot of that and I'm like, so like they're saying B tier, but it's like it just feels like this like at worlds level, there's not a lot of decks that are really viable to play.
Yeah, you're talking about CC, right? Just specifically
CC, yeah,
CC. Yeah.
CC, but like I mean, even like LL, like they're like, oh well, this hero's good into this hero. I'm like, yeah, but you're gonna see a lot of Viscera. Sure, it's
Yeah.
good into
And
Starvo.
that's the big thing, right? Is like for between CC and LL and CC, you do have a lot of A tier decks that you can win the whole tournament with. Those are decks that can win the whole tournament. Um, but I think in LL you have your S tier, you have like the top of A tier, and that's it. Like the rest of the decks will not win Worlds. It's just not gonna happen unless they get super lucky. They're not going to win Worlds where they have this super gem roulette luck,
Yeah,
which is
with
very different
LL,
than CC.
I'm really interested to see how the top 8 goes, and like because it's going that like 2 games of one format, one game of the other format. I'm really interested to see how that
Yeah,
decides everything.
it's interesting too because what like there's 6 games of LL in Swiss, and then yeah, there's that new top 8 format of the best of 3, which I'm actually really excited for. I think it's a really cool concept, and I'm gonna be
That's a very cool concept.
it's gonna be really cool from a spectator perspective to watch that happen. But it's gonna be interesting because the seeding matters so much for that best of 3 because
You're just sick and tired of 8th place winning worlds every single year.
Yeah, I guess so. That's a good point. Yeah, because getting like first seed will I think regardless of their deck choices will be a lot more favored to win the whole thing because of the way that it works because you get to choose the format. Um, but
You almost get to choose your favorite matchup.
it is funny though. There's like there's almost like a mini meta there because choosing the format doesn't let you get to choose first or second. So you don't want to ever choose LL because then your opponent gets to choose first or second. So it's probably going to be a lot of CC games actually. Now that I think about it.
I always imagined it was going to be a lot of CC, but
Yeah. So then the CC that's what's funny is that like I don't think there's going to be that many LL games played. It's going to be the 6 Swiss and like 1 in top 8, which might not be relevant because it might just be who wins the 2 CC games. Um, but anyway, we'll see. We'll see how that turns out. It is kind of funny that like you basically just have to coin if you like just went out in CC, like if you feel really good about CC, you just have to like coin flip LL a couple times, and then you can make top 8 and go from there. That's the world's meta. And then you were talking about for CC meta, it is interesting. I do like the fact that you can bring a lot of decks for it. Like if I was playing in Worlds, I'd be locked in on Dash.io so quickly. And people don't consider the best deck, but I still feel like she's one of the best decks for this meta. You beat Verdance, you beat Syndra, you beat Gravy, you beat Acilio, you're like slightly favored into Prism. You beat everything. Like you beat KO. I don't know. There's like nothing. There's nothing up there that I'm scared of. That's Dash.io. So I'm hoping someone brings Dash.io for CC and just takes it down.
You
And proves me right.
say that she beats Verdance, but like
No,
you
she
look at
does.
Green Tree, and 2-IO has lost to 2 Verdances in the first round of the top
You
8.
can lose it, but you are favored.
Yeah.
And it's funny too because like I showed my team because we have a Verdance player on the team.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, oh, I've been beating Dash.io's left and right, and I'm like, I feel so good in the matchup. Let's record it and
Yeah.
like show the team. Let's do this game in front of the team. And I was so prepared to look like a dumbass. I was so prepared to be like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna lose. I'm gonna get dumpster and then look wrong. But no, it went exactly how it always goes. I just kill them. I put them on the back foot. They can never throw fellings at me, and then the game's over. Like they try to you. What's interesting about that matchup is that you basically force their hand into like being on the back foot and trying to fatigue you. And as long as you are cognizant of your deck, your threat density, and like how the game's playing, and not just like boosting away and clicking the heart button every turn, like you will pretty consistently push through. Like you just don't give them enough space to gain life and to disrupt you and stuff. And I think that the Dashers typically just get fatigued, and I think that shouldn't realistically happen if you have the right sideboard. So anyway,
yeah, that makes sense. It's
yeah, I like the matchup a lot. I even had to go second, which is not like the most ideal, and I still took it down. And I was like, yeah, this is exactly how it goes. Like I had like one slightly unoptimal thing even happened to me, and I still won the game. And anyway, I feel very good about the matchup. I know it's like, I feel like it's one of those like 60-60 or 75-75 matchups where each side thinks that they're favored.
Those are my favorite matchups.
Those are my favorite matchups too. It's so fun whenever you're like, yeah, you feel so confident.
And everyone thinks that like both people sit down and like, I'm gonna win this. So you're both playing to the best of your ability.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
But I literally I think I've played Verdance like 10 times as Dashrayo in the past couple months, and I've only lost one game. Like I feel super good about that matchup, like insanely good about that matchup. And the one game I lost was because I was playing like a bozo. Like I literally it was my last round of calling Kansas City, and I was just like, I just was out of it. I don't know what went wrong. I was being dumb, and I threw cards without thinking, and I lost because of it. I got fatigued, and that's the way you lose the game, is if you slip up once, which obviously is not where you want to be for a favorite matchup. But I think you consistently win if you just don't like make any big mistakes. But anyway, to stop, I'll stop my rants about the Dio Verdance matchup. I'm hoping to take us down. I'm hoping I'm proved right. Oh, you know what? So, we didn't talk about next week yet, whether or not like what we're gonna do for the podcast, because I'm gonna be gone. But we could do a world's prediction this week in preparation.
Oh yeah, we could definitely do a world's prediction. I've been thinking about this, and I'm like 100% on my prediction. Like, I got it. I know who's winning. I know what deck's winning. It's easy.
So what's kind of cool about this is that you have to not only pick the CC decks, you have to pick the LL decks as well.
That I'm not as confident on, but
but okay. So let's hear it. Let's hear your thoughts.
I think honestly, like, I think it could be Arthur Trehey on Verdance.
Oh, you're picking players too.
Oh spicy. Yeah, I'm committed on Verdance, and probably Viserai. That's who I'm picking.
That's in Viserai.
We'll see how many of those 3 marks I make.
So that's who you have to win the whole thing, or just to make top 8?
Yeah, I'm committed. That's who
you're committed to Arthur Trey. Okay, I like it. Do you want to do any other top 8 predictions before I go through mine?
Oh no, Jacob Clemens has just been on a tear, so I feel like he's got to make top 8. What he's on though, what has he been playing a lot of recently? I do not remember.
He's been playing everything, because he was Gravy, but I know he was playing Syndra.
Because I was thinking like I could see Jacob Clemens on Syndra, and I could see something spicy like he does Marlynn. So he'll be Syndra and Marlynn. We'll put that in.
All right. All right. I'll put my predictions out there. I'm not going to necessarily name players. I think that's a bit tougher to get accurate. But I think that there's going to be 3 Syndra, 2 Verdants, a Gravy, a Dash IO, and a Prism for top 8. And then the winner, I think I'm hoping for Dash IO. I'm not sure that's actually going to be the winner, but I'm hoping Dash IO is the winner. And then the LL decks in top 8 will be like 4 Viserai, 2 to 3 Marlin, and a Starvo.
Yeah, so if we're like breaking it down like that, I think it's gonna be. Oh man, I need like a hero list real quick. One sec. Because I think it's gonna be 3 Verdants, 2 Syndra, 2 Gravy Bones, and I'm gonna put down an Acilio. And then for LL, I'm thinking very similar. Like I'm thinking 4 Viserai, 2 Marlin, a Starvo. Maybe that's it. And I'll put down a Zen.
And if I had to choose any players, I think like the big ones would definitely be like Justin Koo, Jacob Clements. I think that I'm trying to remember his name. It's like Connor or something. He's the Dash IO player on the Runaways. Anyway, the Dash IO player on the Runaways. I'm having him as my Dash IO player in top 8. That's my prediction. Okay. Probably Arthur Trey. He's good. He could be up there on Verdants.
I've seen him at one event recently with Verdants, and he performed very well. So, I mean, he's just like, I don't know. Like every time I watch any of his games, like it doesn't matter the meta, it doesn't matter the hero. Like I'm always just so impressed by how well he plays.
Yeah,
like
he definitely could make it.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, it was just like every time I watch, I'm like, I would have never thought of that, and that definitely won him the game. Like that's crazy.
Oh, I don't know who of the blue pitch will be top 8, but I'm gonna guess at least one blue pitch player.
Yeah, blue pitch is such a strong team, so I could definitely agree with that.
I think that's about as much as a prediction I can try to make. Anything else you want to say about Worlds before we go into the updated World Tour points that we got this week?
No, I think that's about it. What I have for Worlds.
So they made an article on, when was this? This was November 5th, so it was 2 days ago. That they are officially sunsetting ELO for World Tour points. And this was kind of expected once they announced the World Tour points a while back. But now it's official.
Well, they even announced that they were trying to get rid of ELO.
Right.
So it was like somewhere we kind of assumed this was how.
Yeah, we just didn't know when it was happening or if it was going to be the World Tour points that were replacing it for sure. But now we have the confirmation that yes, it's the last ELO invites were for Worlds, Philadelphia. ELO will no longer be used for qualifications for anything. It will instead be World Tour points. And how that's going to work is that there are going to be seasons of World Tour points. And what that means is that each set will have its own season from when its release date is up until the release date of the next set. So, for example, the Rosetta season was from November 9th to January 16th. And like the Super Slam season is from September 12th up until February 5th, which is when the Pen set comes out. And these seasons, so that makes what, 3 seasons a year, right? Or is it 4 seasons a year? 3 seasons a year. No, 4.
Yeah, I think 3 seasons a year. Somewhere weird in between where it's like 3 to 4, just because how the seasons lay out.
I think it's what it is. It's like 3.5 a year.
Yeah.
But what that does is that now you have your World Tour points are evaluated on a season by season basis, and it's the last 3 seasons, I believe. Yeah, it's the last 3 seasons that are used, or I think it says 2 to 3 seasons actually. Depends on when the event is, but it's like, yeah, okay, sorry. It's the current ongoing season as well as the 2 most recent previous completed seasons. So it's like 2.5 seasons basically is what's used to determine your eligibility for big events. And it says, for example, for Yokohama, the High Seas, Super Slam, and Pen Season are going to be used for qualification. So basically, all of your World Tour points from High Seas up until then. And the invites will only be the top 50 global and top 25 Asia Pacific region, which is interesting because it mentions that there's no pass downs or transferring of invitations. So I don't know how much double dipping is going to happen with that type of invite system. Like, does that mean there's only going to be?
I mean, 75 players are getting invited that way, so it's like
No. So that's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying is that it says top 50 global and top 25 Asia Pacific, but some of those top 25 Asia Pacific region players are going to be in top 50 global, right?
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying.
So I don't know how often like that'll be an overlap, but it'll probably be at least 10 to 15 players will be of the top Asia Pacific will be top global. So that's at least 10 to 15 less players getting in.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought.
So because if I remember correctly, it used to be top 75 global. Like for World Philly, I think it was top 75 global is what it was used.
Okay.
And so you're going to have slightly less invites based on ranking for this. But yeah, anyway, long story short, that's the new way that you get your automatic invites to these events. They also put a point breakdown at the bottom of the article. And everything was as expected except for one thing. Showdown.
Two things. But
two things. Okay. What was the other thing?
Well, two things for me. But anyway, Showdown. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, wait. What's the other thing? I'm down. Now I'm curious.
Like Battle Hardens. I didn't expect them to be completely gone from the point system.
So they might be related. So yeah. So Battle Hardens are not listed as a way to get World Tour points, and instead we have this column called Showdown, where first place gets 4 points, second to third to fourth is 1. So there's not even 7th through 8th or 5th through 8th doesn't even get any World Tour points for whatever the Showdown is. My theory is that Showdown is literally just the renamed Battle Hardened. That's my theory.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's your theory?
I don't know. It's like I don't think it's the Battle Hardened. Like I think Battle Hardened has such a name to it. It could be on a similar level, but I'm also wondering if it's something that's going to be like more than not more than a Battle Hardened.
So to give some context, because this is relevant, to give some context, the calling gives points all the way down to 32nd place, whereas the Showdown only gives points down to 4th place. Yeah, I noticed your camera's a little fuzzy there.
Yeah. Well, it's just like the light is hitting it the wrong way.
Right. It's fine. It's not a big deal. Most people will just be listening anyway.
I have a halo glow around me.
Yeah, it's like the old Renaissance paintings of the halo behind the angel to show that.
Let me lead my head out this way and.
But yeah, there's a very large drop off of points is what I'm getting at for between a calling and a Showdown. So it is very likely that it is something smaller than even a Battle Hardened.
Yeah. So my thought process is
that's worse.
I figured this out another day, but my thought process is it's actually like a more local thing, where it's supposed to be something that like big stores and areas. This is like completely theory, no backing, but it's gonna be like a ProQuest, but just a bit bigger than a ProQuest. Like this area of the world gets like this country gets a Showdown, and like you can break it down. Like this state gets a Showdown, and it's like a cap of like 75 players. And so it's like smaller events than Battle Hardened, because like I think originally the Battle Hardened was meant to be like, hey, this group of local people. These locals are supposed to play here, and it's evolved into something that is much more than just local players. And it's like, okay, we have Brody Spurlock, and I think Jacob Clemens going to a few, and it's just a bunch of these people flocking to these Battle Hardens as well, where it's like I can imagine a Showdown is much more meant for the locals. Like, hey, this is a smaller event, but it's supposed to be a big local event, so you can still win points off of this local event. But
It
that's
could
my
be.
crackpot theory.
Um, my only thing with that is no matter how many local showdowns you have, you're not gonna qualify for
Yeah.
for for anything. You're not gonna get
Well, it
top
could
50
just
global
be.
based off of just
Mhm.
going to these showdowns.
Oh,
Even if they were
there.
every week and you won, well, okay, maybe in that case you could get there, but
No,
um,
I'm like, sorry.
you're good.
I'll let
You're
you talk.
no, I was basically it is that my only problem with that theory is that either the showdowns have to be super plentiful in order to make it impactful enough on world tour points, or else it's kind of irrelevant, right? Because you have to get first or second place in a large number of showdowns to actually make a dent in the amount of points that you get from top 8ing the worlds or pro tour or calling.
So, what I wanted to say is like, so Battle Hardened was initially on the list, and it was initially meant to be a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
It ended up being like what defined world points this last season and last year. But like I could imagine showdowns like yeah, you're only meant to play one and it's like a tiebreaker kind of thing. Where it's like,
Okay.
oh, you guys both did this, and then like the showdown gave you one extra point because you top forward, so you break like you.
That's a good point. That's a really good point because okay, so the biggest uh criticism of the player of the year award was okay, it's just going to go to Brody or Michael Fung. And that's currently pretty true. Because if we look at the World Tour points, Brody is at 141 points. Jacob Clements did sneak up there with 130 points, and Michael Fung has 91, which is tied with Michael Hamilton at 91. So currently, it's ringing true that Brody is likely to be the player of the year. In fact, I think it's confirmed because isn't it at Worlds that they get crowned player of the year? And I don't think there's
I think
a
it's
way.
after Worlds though. It's
Oh, is it
after they
after?
compete,
Oh,
so they can like. So if Jacob Clemens like wins Worlds, then he can definitely win like Player of the Year. So
okay.
there's a chance that he loses.
There's actually, I don't know if this has changed or if this is from before, but I'm reading out the Flesh and Blood Player of the Year is the player with the most World Tour points from 2024-2025 World Tour season and
Yep.
boasts a $100,000 prize pool. The Player of the Year will win 25,000 with two regional champions winning
Yep.
15,000 each, three second place regional champions winning 10,000 each, and three third place regional champions winning 5,000 each. So your region actually matters a lot too. Um,
Mhm.
but
Yeah, and that's why they talk about regions a lot whenever the like whenever there's a calling. I don't know if you've ever seen them like, oh, and here's the breakdown of the region. So like, yeah, the regions do matter, but for like the player of like the year, like the player, there's still a chance for like Jacob Clemens, but that's the only
see,
player that it really matters for.
that's cool. Um, so one thing I did want to note about these points. So I want to note two things actually. I was still on the same, a similar topic. Is that like you said, the battle hardens were supposed to be tiebreakers and not a large portion of the points, and that's what a lot of that criticism was from. Is because you could effectively farm battle hardens for world tour points, and so it
Mhm.
effectively became who goes to the most events gets the most number of points. But with this new system, depending on what a showdown is, with this new system, there's like you can't go to like you can't really flood events as easily and get an advantage that way because
Mhm.
it's the world championship, which is once a year. The pro tour, which is twice a year, and then callings, which are like once a
Once
month.
every other week, maybe sometimes once a month.
Yeah. I will say that's still fairly accurate for callings because a lot of times callings are distributed across the world,
Yeah,
and
that's true.
so if you are not able to travel abroad that frequently, then you will have a major disadvantage at becoming a player of the year.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, unfortunately, I think that's always going to be a fact. Like, if you can't travel to do this, you're not going to become player of the year. And I think it is like a cool thing that like player of the year like has you travel and do all these cool things. So like
Yeah.
That's cool. I think it was just unreasonable with Battle Hardens being like, are you at every Battle Harden every single weekend? Because if no, you're not winning.
So this is why when the points were initially announced, there was a lot of confusion on why it wasn't just your top rated events, your top X number of events, like your best 3 callings or something, right? Or your only your best result at a calling that this season, which I think would go a long way into making it much more attainable for people, because it's still a bit of a it's still being kind of gate kept, right, from people that have a 9 to 5 and a family, right? Like those type of people, those people cannot win Player of the Year. It's just not possible to win Player of the Year unless you don't have a job and you're able to travel all the time. And that's still going to be the case if callings are giving these amount of points, because it'll be whoever gets to go to the most callings and somewhat consistently top 8 will be Player of the Year, without a doubt. I think
it's still better than it was with like slightly not included.
Slightly,
slightly. But that's slightly, but it is.
That's if a showdown isn't a battle hardened.
That's if showdown isn't battle hardened.
If it isn't a battle hardened. So yeah, I still think the system is pretty flawed for that reason. I do think it's obviously nice to have an incentive to travel for events, but I think it still feels like, okay, this isn't relevant to me because I can't even compete. Like I can't compete for this. This is not something I can do, right? Like it's just not feasible. Like why do I care about something that I cannot take part in? So like obviously I could, if I make first or second at a Pro Tour or World Championship, I can definitely get there because I can go to those. But realistically, unless I like win a Pro Tour or World Championship, I'm not even in contention.
I guess it's something weird being from my point of view, because like I'm not actually like participating in anything. Like I've never, even if this has been since the start of the game, I've never gotten a World Tour point. So it is something that like is a little bit outside my perspective. So it's something I don't quite understand, but I can definitely see how you have a different like understanding of the system.
Yeah, it's interesting how much money is put into a program that is realistically for about 60 to 100 players total that could even consider it, right? Like there's like maybe at most 100 players that could feasibly earn money from this, and that's it. Because even if you won the World Championship, and you like maybe get 9th to 16th at a Pro Tour, you have 52 points. But someone who goes to top 8s, what? Let's say you top. You need I guess you need to top 8 a good handful of callings. But let's say you top 8 like 6 to 8 callings, and then you make top 8 of a Pro Tour. I think you're already beating someone who won the World Championship. But anyway, I digress. Long story short, there's a lot. It seems like there's a lot of effort being put into a system that is just not relevant to most players. There's a lot of money going into the system that is just not accessible by most players. And we have this showdown that we have to learn more about. That's it. My rant's over.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I was never making any money on Flesh and Blood anyway, so it's not my problem. But
what do you mean? We're getting so much ad money from these podcasts.
We haven't even has the penny come in?
No, we don't earn a cent on this.
It's gonna be interesting. I think it would be super cool if like Showdown is like a local like 75 player cap, because it would be cool, because like I mean Denver deserves a calling. Like where is our calling?
We've been asking for this forever. We're getting one. It's happening. It's just win.
To happen. They're gonna like wait like. Anyways, but
speaking of, I don't know if you saw it in our Discord. We recently put in an application for arcane games and events to have a circuit here in Denver.
Oh yeah, I did see a little bit of
Yeah.
that.
I think it says something about like they recommend having 40 interested players, and we got like 65 that input into the Google form for it. So we're almost certainly getting Arcane Games and Events circuit here, which is cool.
That'd be cool. But yeah, it's like I want like we gotta do something for Denver, but at least this would be cool because it's like, oh, we could do like a showdown at least, or it's like, hey, there's this big event for Denver, although you don't get a calling or a battle hardened because those are good. Like if it's what I think it is, where it's like they reach out to like just an armory, like, hey, we don't want to buy and make a venue. Do you like level 7 in our area, which is pretty big? Like, hey, level 7, do you want to host a larger event? We'll give you prize support. We'll do this. We'll help out in some ways, but we can't like obviously buy out a venue for you. And then it's like, okay, and they like if they said yes, then that's what like a showdown is, and maybe there's like a legendary gold foil, or maybe not a legendary because I don't know how many there are, but still like maybe even majestic gold foils that are pretty cool that can like go to the winner, and then there's some prize money. Like that would be really cool.
Hey, now I want to point out something here. Not once did you mention how cool the showdown points would be, the World Tour points would be. That was not even a factor of the prizing. And you know why? Because it doesn't fucking matter. Who cares? Who cares if it's a showdown? It literally would make zero difference to anybody in this region if it was a showdown or not.
So yeah, and I mean like I'm looking on the outside because again, it doesn't matter if I somehow went and won a calling, like that would be it doesn't matter if I'm like participating in anything else. If I like won a calling and got or even made top 32 in a calling, that's a huge achievement for me. Like I've like so that would like that part's a little less relevant to me specifically, but like I think it'd be cool to like because like I think there's so many areas in the world that want a big event that's supported by LSS. Like, and even if it's like not like huge, it'd be cool to have some event that's like, hey, like grab a like. I mean, in Denver, like a 75 player, if you made it like a big thing, you could probably get 75 players really easy in Denver. But like, imagine it's like, so like Wyoming. Like there's some players in Wyoming, but you'd get some people from like Minnesota. You'd definitely get the Colorado people going up. Like,
and this is why I've been pushing so much for them to do more promos as prizing, because they could do like it. One Piece does this where the cash prizing for tournaments is really small, but the promos are worth so much money that it's worth doing these events just for the promos alone. Like they could like the gold foil Marvel quick dodge flexors is a huge step in the right direction, right? But now imagine if that was the first place prize, or if let's say a battle hardened, the first place prize was a Marvel gold foil anything, and then second through like fourth got 2 copies or maybe a play set of like another Marvel gold foil of a common or something, and then like 5th through 8th got 1 copy of it. And then that was it. Maybe there's a little bit of cash pricing tied in. Now, how cheap would it be for LSS to run those events and make the pricing better?
Yeah.
You know,
and like that would be like cool if they did. Like I think they did a lot well for like this last ProQuest season too, where it's like, oh, you've got that extended art, swing big, and you've got the overcrowded. Like if they just like, hey, for the showdowns, like imagine they took the overcrowded and they're like, this cold foil extended art overcrowded is for showdown. Like first place winner, like that would be crazy. That would be cool.
Exactly,
like, stuff like that.
And that would make these events so much more valuable to go to get these promos. But anyway, I don't want to go on that rant again for the 10th time. But yeah, I think that ultimately, I think they'll figure out the events as it goes on. Yeah. But I'm
now I've got myself like really excited for Showdown, really hoping it's like a small local thing. But I'm gonna be really disappointed when they say, we're just renaming Battle Hardened.
But again, you're only excited for showdowns for the non-World Tour points prizing and competition. Well. Right? So like the only reason we care about a showdown is because it could be a cool event, but not because it is tied to the World Tour points. Anyway, any last words on that before we move on?
Yeah, no, I don't have any words on the World Tour points or anything.
I have one thing,
or any of the showdown or any of that stuff.
I have one thing I instead of talking about this topic that I've highlighted in our notes,
Mm.
I thought I was just gonna talk a minute about this one that I heard from a different podcast, which is what if for balancing, heroes had an adjustable life total? Thoughts?
That's a wild thought. That's crazy. Like, it's an interesting idea, but I think the hard part about that is like keeping up as a player, like every single season. And it's like
Yeah.
the same as like hero specific bans, where it's like, oh, okay, like new ban list drops. Let me go look at my hero's life total. Oh, they have this much life this season. How does that affect their meta relevancy? Oh, Verdance went from 40 life to 30 life because she's a wizard and can do unpreventable damage. Like, it would.
Yeah,
I think it's just hard to keep up with.
I can agree with that. I think that's the biggest downside to it would be, yeah, erratas are avoided for a big reason, and this would effectively be an errata.
Yeah,
I do think that it would be a very effective balancing tool though, that they could
I
have a
think it'd
knob
be
on. Like for example,
insanely effective.
if you wanted to hit Syndra, we were talking about it earlier. What do you hit? Like the deck is just a, it's just all the same cards really, and obviously you could probably find some hits in there. But what if instead you just made her 38 life, and that would be a little hit, and then that would make a pretty significant dent in her win rate, and it would be such an easy knob to like turn up and down, right? Like you're okay, maybe this was too much. We'll put her at 39 life, like something like that.
Hmm.
And I think that the main way you would do that is by having something on the life total on the card on all heroes printed from now on. You'd have to be like 40 star or something, or like just like a star in general. There's no actual number there. It's just like an asterisk, and then you'd have to look it up so that you don't look at the card and you're like, okay, I know what I'm starting at. You'd be like, okay, I'll look at the card. I maybe already know what the life total is, but I can check and see what it's supposed to be. And there's a lot of games that do this already. Like a lot of miniatures games do it with point costs for buying armies.
Hmm.
So like for example, I don't actually play Warhammer, no Warhammer, but I know it has a similar system to most mini games where it's you have like 1,500 points, and you put together these armies that make up those points values, and you have to look it up every time because it's a dynamic value. So this already has precedent in other gaming spaces, and I think that it would be if possible, if feasible, it would be a really good tool for balancing in Flesh and Blood.
The other thing about it is it's in like we're talking about Flesh and Blood, where they like are very much like they don't like online stuff. Like they don't like making the game online.
Right.
And that's forcing the player and especially new players to go and look up like, okay, what's his life? It's you're breaking that in-person aspect of what Flesh and Blood is, and like to go and jump to something else. And I get it, it's like a 30-second search. It's like, okay, how
So
much life does Syndra Retribution have?
I
But
agree. Counterpoint: you put your results in Gem.
you've got a point there. But it is something where it's like, oh no, I feel like it's the other part that was like with new players, or even if you're not playing like at an armory, you're just playing at like home. Like, I don't want to have to pull up the rules every time I'm playing at home. Or like if it's a new player, like you're getting the cards, you make your deck, you like I played Blitz. This is sick. Let me go to CC. And then you see a star for health. You're like, what does that mean? Like, what does like I
Yeah,
just went
there's
from
a
Blitz
lot
where
of
it's like,
hurdles. There's so many like hurdles
yeah.
to get it into a good new player experience. But I think it would still be good, at least from a
I
competitive
think
standpoint.
balancing wise, it would be like you can reintroduce a lot of cards into the game
Yeah.
because like you could go in and like Verdance with the combo if she had 30 life, like fine, whatever. And I think that's maybe a little extreme, but like you just
Exactly.
reduce
That
her
would be
life.
extreme. But yeah.
But yeah, or it's like Syndra, like reduce her life would definitely help. Why Riptide doesn't have 40 life because he does unpreventable damage, but Syndra has 40 life and does unpreventable damage every single turn is unbeknownst to me. But
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I think it would be an amazing balancing tool. I just think it has way too many hurdles. But I think
yeah.
it's an interesting thought.
I think the biggest hurdle would be the new player experience. I think anybody who's ingrained in the game would be fine with it and would
Yeah.
have no problem with it. But yeah, I do agree that the new player experience would be interesting because like imagine you scrap together a deck and you go to your armory and then someone says, "Oh, your health is not what's on that card." Like let's say it has 40 on it, or like they're using a legacy hero.
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, your health isn't actually 40; it's 36." Then they'd be like, "Wait, what do you mean?" And then you have to like show them the website and explain how it works, and it would be a
That's
hassle.
not
I
a
agree.
very good new player experience.
Exactly. However, that already happens with banned cards. So again, that process already exists, and you could avoid banning cards entirely with this system, right? Unless you wanted to like reduce power turns in some way. There would probably still be bans, but they would be
Still have Art of
fewer
War
and far
banned.
between. Yeah, you still have you just have like the book bannings and stuff, right? Like there would still be bans, but there would be much less card bans with the system, which is not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing, but I still think it's just like it feels so much worse. Like I've definitely been at an armory and someone played like an illegal card, and I'm like, hey dude, just by the way, like this card's not legal. Like you can play with it this game. I don't care. Like I know you're brand new. You don't know this. What who cares?
Yeah.
But like if I sat down like for first time playing the game, someone told me a card's not legal. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, whatever. And they're like, oh, you can still play it, whatever. Like it doesn't affect the game. But being like sitting down, it's like, hey, I know your card says this, but actually that's not true. Like,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it's like because like at least like, oh, this card's banned. It's like, oh, okay, like whatever. But like I can also see being a new player, like that doesn't seem right.
I don't know
Like,
about that whole
doesn't-
whatever thing. I remember back in the Lexi meta that I showed up to an armory and some guy was playing Azalea and he was sitting next to me and he flipped over his bullseye bracers and I was like, sorry, bud, those coldful bullseye bracers are they're banned. And then the guy's like, wait, what? And he just doesn't have any of their arms. So he just has to run without an arm slot for that armory because it's banned.
Yeah, and like yeah, it's like I get it, but like yeah, it's I don't know. I think it's just
I think
a bit much.
If they could solve the issues you're talking about, from the new player experience, then yeah, it'd be great. But I do agree that without without a good implementation, it would not be good for the game. At least good for new players.
It'd be interesting. It'd be really cool, but I mean, there's only one hero that needs their health errated, and it should be Valda at 42 because she's
Honestly.
the only hero in the entire game that doesn't follow the young to adult hero.
I can't believe they did that.
I can't either.
That's impressive.
I was so disappointed.
I guess you would have been the first above 40 hero, which is maybe they just didn't want to do that.
I think it's for fatigue reasons. Like they don't want Valda just to be I block 4. But like, I mean, look at Valda's meta results right now. Like she could use it, like, and I would be even better. I'd be sitting pretty good. And then RKO would be an even easier matchup for
Oh yeah, RKO would be tough for them if you started with 2 extra life.
Yeah. So you better hope you start with Sigil and take 0 damage.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all I just thought it was a fun concept to bring up.
I do think it's a very interesting concept. But I just think it's too hard to implement. But I think it would be the best balancing point for Flesh and Blood if they could do it.
Yeah. Yeah, anything else you want to talk about before we do our mini after shows thing? Non-Flesh and Blood topics.
No, I think that's mostly it. Now you've got me thinking about why Valda's at 40 life and not 42 again, and I'm
well, hey, anything to take your mind off of Syndra, right?
It's not very hard. Like anyone even like says anything that can somehow relate to Valda, my brain's like, okay, we brought up bringing health down for Syndra to make her balance, and my brain's like, oh yeah, why isn't Valda at 42 life? Like totally just grabbed whatever we were talking about and brought it over here. So it's like definitely it's a very dangerous brain I have. But I'm good. I'm ready to move on.
Yeah, I'll let you go first before I yap.
Oh no. Okay, well,
I mean, if you don't
I
have
was
anything, you
and
don't have
was not
anything.
ready, but
But
I mean, we talked about it a little bit last week, but we're getting really close to end of one of my D&D campaigns. I'm DMing this campaign where they're like in level 19 and they are fighting in Dragonlance. And I don't know if anyone knows what Dragonlance is, but it's a world where there's like low magic, the gods left the planet, and dragons don't exist is the idea. Very obviously none of that's true, and the whole like plot is like, and like it's something where I had to homebrew the second half of the campaign, but the it's going from the first half of the campaign, the like by module, where it's like gods don't exist, and like encountering a like they encounter a dragon or two, and that's like a really big moment because it's a fairy tale. It's just as fairy tale as like encountering a dragon in real life. Like if you saw a dragon, you'd be like, you just couldn't comprehend it. And
right,
it's very similar in this world. Dragons haven't been seen for thousands of years, or for however long, maybe hundreds. But the idea is like gods don't exist, dragons don't exist, magic is very, very little. So it's like the first half was definitely them encountering it, and it's like a really cool setting because like they were really engaged with it because it's like, oh, like da 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 da, oh, we're learning a little bit about the gods, and like interacting with gods is a very big thing. So it's like they all like really got invested into the gods, and they all started like, well, one character started a believer, and that was pretty much his whole plot point and story. Well, the other two were like, gods don't exist. Gods aren't real. Like they're fairy tales. Like whatever, whatever, whatever. And it got to the point where they're all like praying to gods, and so it's a huge plot point, and it's a really cool setting.
that's cool. And yeah, and you said it's your last session's coming up, right?
Yeah, we have a few more sessions
Oh,
left.
a few more. Okay.
Unfortunately, like the next couple like weekends, we can't do it. We usually do a Sunday night, but it's like I think we have like 2 or 3 more sessions left, which is really, really cool.
That is exciting.
I've
Yeah.
been planning the end of this campaign forever. Like when I wrote the homebrew section from like level 12 to 20, I actually wrote the entire story backwards. Like this is how I want it to
Yeah.
end. This is what I want to happen. How do we get there? Like how do we from where we ended, how do we get there? So it's now that we're kind of coming up to the end, it's like really, really exciting. And we recently had like a fight where it was like a dragon and Soth, if anyone knows who that is in canon or ever whatever, but Soth, who is a death knight that can cast spells, that and they both have like legendary actions. So there's like some crazy things where like Soth would command his dragon to land, and then like on the like after the turn, like they would it's just like every turn he would be
Yeah.
moving and things would happen. It was really cool. And the fight was a lot tighter than I thought it would be, honestly, because this party is broken. But it's
Yeah.
it was really cool.
That's awesome. I do need to run in a minute, but I will just say that I'm absolutely addicted to Expedition 33. I started that last week, and it is the potentially the best game I've ever played. It'll be tough
Yeah,
to
I
compete
haven't.
with Outer Wilds. That's my favorite game right now, but
Mhm.
my top game of all time. But it is pretty good. Turns out it's pretty good.
It
Yeah,
is probably one of my most favorite games, if not like the best game I've ever played. Like I
it's
remember
so
when it came out, I heard a little bit about it. I'm like, I have nothing I'm doing right now. Let me play it. And then I completed it over the weekend. Like,
good.
just, I'm like, I have a couple days off. I'm playing this. Beat it over the
I
weekend.
wish.
And,
I wish I had a
oh,
couple. I mean, I guess I do. I can play it tonight, but I should be
yeah.
preparing for Philadelphia. But instead, I was a dumbass and started this game. But
it's,
yeah,
yeah, it's a good game.
that's all I have. Any last words? Oh, actually, let's leave the audience with a question. What are your predictions for Worlds? What do you predict to be the top 8, both CC and LL, or players, or all three? Let us know in the comments below, whether on YouTube or Spotify. Anything else you wanted to say before we sign off?
Play Expedition 33 if you haven't.
Yes,
Good game.
play it. Well, not yet. Don't start it until after Worlds if you're competing. Otherwise,
Yeah,
you will not be able to put it down. But yeah, with that, I'm Cody.
And I'm Jacob.
Thanks for watching and listening.